Hi again, you guys, and I am back with my dice challenge. Now, these two videos are going to be a little bit different because I'm recording them at the exact same time. One on my Arduino board, and then the other on my coding, my script. So I'm going to be talking about both of these at the same time, and hopefully this is going to be about less than 10 minutes, but let's get started. So at the top of my coding, I have identified 5 different pins. My pins are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And those correlate to the digital pins on my Arduino board. Now, that being said, I have pin 2 is going to be representing number 1. Pin 3 is going to be representing number 2, pin 4 is 3, 5 is 4, 6 is 5, and 7 is 6. I know that's a little confusing, but, and I should have just done a one-to-one, but I wanted to kind of challenge myself and make sure that I could follow in case I ever had to do different pins, so that's why. The other thing that I defined was the button, like what the button is going to be inserted the pin for, and that's going to be to pin 13. So those are the pins I'm working with on my board. Now, the last thing that I defined in my script was the random dice number, which is technically a digital holding number. It's like kind of like a blank that's kind of just being held, and you're going to see when I use my code later what that actually is going to do. So when we do any scripting whatsoever, we always start with our first two things, the setup and the loop. So as far as the setup goes, all I did was define that pins 2 through 7 are now going to be called 0 through 5. And so that's going to be my LED pin index that shows my output, what the Arduino is going to be outputting to show. And then my input is defined as my button, that I am physically inputting some information here into my code to get a reaction from it. Now, on my actual code, which if you're watching both videos side by side or either or, you will see that I have something called serial begin and serial print. And those basically are going to start a communication with something called the serial monitor. And you can reach that from tools in the Arduino window. So I'm going to open that for you guys now on my other window so that you can see what that looks like. I'm going to do that one more time after we begin. So the first thing I wanted to do was randomize the sequence of what was going to happen. And the way I did that was through random seed. And so in my actual code, I connected random seed to A0. Now you can see on my board, A0 doesn't actually have anything connected to it at all. And so the way I mentally see that is it's kind of like the code hitting a wall and bouncing back and kind of continuing to give something random every single time. And the reason I'm doing it that way and not just doing random itself is because if you've messed around with random at all, it actually gives you the same random sequence over and over and over again. So if the first random sequence you get is 4, 3, 2, 0, 1, 5, 6, 5, the next time you instigate that same random, you are going to get that same exact loop over again. It's going to be a random string of numbers, but it's going to repeat, and that's not what we want. So, moving on to the loop. The loop is going to do several things. The first thing that the loop does is it tells me what this state of the button is, whether it's being pushed or not. And then the next thing that it defines is the number that is being held digitally, magically, scientifically in the air to tell me which set of lights needs to light up. So, if I am pushing the button, a random number is generated. And when that random number is generated, it correlates with the set of lights that I have set instructed. And the great thing about that is if you are running the serial monitor at the exact same time, and you press the button, 4 lights up and 4 shows on the screen. It's really cool that they correlate and how I can record my information from that. So every time it's going to read random dice number is, and so if the dice number turns in, or when I run the random and it turns into 0, it's going to the choose 1 script. If it turns into a 1, it's going to the choose 2. It's going into 2, and it's going to choose 3. And the reason that it's starting from 0 through 5 is because, I don't know if you remember, but at the top of my script, I defined these as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, instead of just normally the way it's supposed to be. And that's just to make it easier so that you're starting from 0. So if I hit this button and it randomly generates a 4, it's going to choose 5 script. What does choose 5 script mean? Well, it's going to come down here and it's going to read my choose 5 script. And that means that 5 turns on and all the others stay off. So this is marked as high, whereas all the others are marked as low. And so I do it again. So that would have been the choose 3 script. And so if we looked at choose 3 script, it's marked high, where all the others were off and marked low. And I can have a history here showing that I just did the choose 3 script on my Arduino board because it shows a 3 in my commands on my window. So how does this run? I've defined everything here at the top. My setup combines everything into an index so I don't have to go indy, mini, miny, mo to figure out which one is which. And then I set up printing to my command side screen. In my loop is where I hit the button. All right, that was choose 1. That was choose 2. That was choose 3. That was choose 2. That was choose 5. That was choose 1. Now, if I only had it set to do if random dice number equals 0 through 5, and I have it run its choose 1, choose 2, choose 3, choose 6 different things, I need to have a delay at the end so that way I have enough time to actually see what's going on my Arduino board. So I have a delay set of 2,000 milliseconds. Sorry. Now, if you notice, I'm not pushing the button on my Arduino video. And so if you look at my coding video, it says else, pin mode, output, low, 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 low. That basically means that since I'm not pushing the button, everything is off. So if I'm pushing the button, it randomly generates a number. If I'm not pushing the button, everything is off. And then I have my choose 1, choose 2, choose 3, choose 4, choose 5, and choose 6 functions defined. What is it choosing? It's choosing 2. What is it choosing? It's choosing 2 again. What is it choosing? It chose 4 this time. It chose 4 again. And so the cool thing about this is I can hit the reset button here in the corner to re-upload this from scratch, and I can start over. It's on 4. It's on 5. And it keeps going over and over and over again like that. So I hope that that was a help. I'm doing something different, recording my screen as well as my Arduino at the exact same time. So ideally, if you run both of them side by side, or if you decide to watch one after the other, they start at the exact same moment. So if you guys have any questions, or if anything was too confusing or I rushed through something, please let me know. I'm here to help, and this took a really long time, you guys. So if you're hitting any kind of boards or frustration or walls, just reach out. I'm happy to help and try and explain anything that I possibly can. Good luck, you guys.